Hello, my dear pilgrims. It's Ira Hoyer here. This is video number 2, and today we will be talking about the online resources, which I used for preparation for my San Francisco pilgrimage in Italy. Now, of course, this is not an exhaustive list. And if I would go into everything I've checked before, that would take too long of a time. So I boiled it down to the major ones, the sources which I used as a bulk of the things for my preparation. Now let's make one step back and acknowledge that San Francisco Way is really different from what you might encounter, for example, in Spain. Spain made Santiago Compostela and the routes into it so popular that the whole infrastructure was built across the countries, not only Spain, but Portugal and France, and literally thousands of people walking. And there is always one direction from point A, where they start, into Santiago de Compostela. San Francisco Way is different. Well, first of all, I barely see people for at least a couple of weeks in April, my first half of the way. And a lot of times I ended up staying in a pilgrimage hostel by myself. It was cool and scary at the same time. But also San Francisco Way is a combination of parts of the way which you can actually walk both directions. There are places on it, meaning La Verna, Assisi, Rieti, which you can walk back and forth and not in one go. It is quite demanding in terms of effort and time. When you decide, like I did, walk from Florence to Rome, it took me more than 3.5 weeks to do so. And financially, it's also not so cheap. Again, as I mentioned, because the infrastructure, especially for pilgrims, is not yet that developed and sponsored by the state. So that's the conversation for another video about accommodation. But we need to kind of pinpoint the fact that the way San Francisco Way is structured, it can be walked in different directions. Number 2, this specific thing about San Francisco Way is that it goes through 3 regions in Italy: Tuscany, Umbria, and Lazio. And plus it goes further into a smaller parts of these regions. So every region, there is no one-stop shop, one website. For example, Italy Tourist, just something about like Italy as a state, which described the San Francisco Way in details. So what I found is that each region, starting with Tuscany, has a designated website, which actually was not always created by the government. In Tuscany, for example, it's a non-profit organization which has nothing to do with religion at all. So they're not promoting St. Francis as a saint. They're promoting nature, culture, and St. Francis as a figure to look to. In Umbria, this website feels very kind of governmenty, as it feels that it was created as a program from the local government. Lazio also has its own flair to it. But overall, it is enough to have these sources to be actually in a position to plan well. Yeah, you tour. They give you enough information. So let's start with Tuscany. And this website is Via Francesca Florence to La Verna, which actually emphasizes what is the start point and what is the end point. As I said, you can go from Florence to La Verna or from La Verna to Florence. It depends on you. Very friendly website. Again, I just want to say that all of the websites will be mentioned in the description for this video, so it's just easy to click and follow. Now, it gives you the idea, it shows you where it starts and through which smaller places it goes. It recommends, the shoulder to be broken into 6 stages. That's a topic for another video of whether you want to follow the stages or you think that you can reduce it like I did, and whether that was wise or not. It's up to you. We will discuss it in another video. But for now, you do have a very clear picture of where you start every day, where you end up every day, what you would see in every place. There is a PDF document with accommodations available to you. It gives you the travel time, it gives you the altitude difference, and it even discusses a bit details about the route itself. It's very handy. I really liked it. And especially when you just start planning and you feel that it made, somebody made it easier for you. It gives you this boost of confidence that it can be done. So that was quite pleasant. I'm really, really happy with that website. Now, the Umbria page, which, as I said, felt a bit more structured and conservative, this one gives you a really cool way of looking at this pilgrimage. You can walk it on foot and you can do it also cycling. So basically you have both for walking and cycling. Again, every stage is described. I do recommend you to pay attention to the difficulty they usually state on each stage. I mean, it can say, if it says difficult, most probably it will be. So be aware of that. Another cool thing on this website is they have it's a path, right? It's a nature thing. So things might happen, mudslides or construction or something which precludes you to go a regional path. So that means that they have a PDF document and they would put attention in red on that stage. So do look at the document. I would not guarantee that it's completely up to date. I did find that the construction was already over and the path was free, but just for your information, look at it and just keep it in mind. What happened to me in Tuscany, there was no that option, and what happened to me is that suddenly I see that the road, it's a gravel road, it's not a big road, but it's a road, and it's closed. There is a sign, you can't go in, and I was not prepared for that. There was no alternative route around. I've checked my commute and realized that I have to go back several kilometers and then just take some other road, which I was not prepared. I'm not proud of myself. I went through, there was a mudslide, and yes, for cars it was not accessible, but on foot I was able to move through that. However, it would have been much easier on my nerve being prepared for that and looking for alternative routes. So the Umbria one actually lists the whole way up to Rome. And again, here is this thing when you can go all the way Roman way, it's been called Roman way, or you can go from La Verna to Assisi or from Rieti, so it's up to you. Also keep in mind that San Francisco Way does have alternative routes. For instance, I've met a person who came from Rimini, who started in Rimini, which is on the northern eastern side compared to Florence. And you can, if you're doing shorter leg of the journey, you can do different routes. For example, there is a detour to Perugia. I didn't do that. I had enough kilometers under my belt and I was not planning to do more. But be aware that this website gives you this opportunity. So if you're doing a shorter walk, then you might take an alternative. At some point, I even saw that there is a hard way or an easy way. I always opted for an easy one because I had plenty of mountains already by that time. But again, it's up to you and you have that choice. The third one is in Lazio, and to be honest, I did not really use it that much, but I know that it's there. It's completely in Italian, but with this automatic translation, it's really handy and easy to use. Standard, the path, credentials, what to see on the way. All of them are helping you to establish the way how to get credentials. It's very straightforward. Honestly, you just write to an email and you will be sent these credentials for free. I did not even pay for mailing, so that was easy. That was really, really easy. All right, so these are the three covering the regions you will be going through. The one which I really used, and it did help me to find this pilgrimage accommodation easier, is the 4Walk. I am not quite sure whether it's an app. I use it on the web browser because I had quite a strong connection always. But what it helped me with, first of all, it shows the whole way without deviations, without alternatives from Florence to Rome. Right? So this is one big thing. I could, when I was planning my days on Komoot, I would consult that one as well to see where is the original one goes. But the biggest difference for me there would be the places, the smaller places you will be going through, where will be the fountains with water, where will be the grocery shopping or bakeries, and the hostels for pilgrims. And what's interesting, they would have even the phone number, because a lot of these places would not have a website. So you would have to write directly on WhatsApp to the person who's overseeing this dormitory for pilgrims or this hostel for pilgrims. That was really, really helpful. I mean, they also go into, I mean, they're not only covering San Francisco, they do it in other places, in other countries, so that it's a really helpful resource and source of information. They do discuss even the transportation things. Again, that's coming in my video with the tips, my experience with public transportation in Italy. But for now, I will strongly recommend this place because that really helped me to plan everything in my Komoot. And the last but not obviously least is Komoot itself. Komoot is the app which I've been using for many years now for both my hiking and cycling adventures. I would not say that this is high quality, but I don't really see, I don't really know other options. All Trails is too messy for me. Strava is only for cycling. So anyway, if you know better places to plan your long hikes, please advise. I'm open for suggestions. But for now, let me just say a couple of things about Komoot. First and foremost, it crashed on me a couple of times in the most inconvenient time, which forced me to restart my route in the middle point. It also made several mistakes which led for me to very uncomfortable hiking. But all in all, it did get me from point A to point B. Make sure that when you're planning your days, your daily hikes, you compare where Komoot sends you compared to the official route. And you would need to use waypoints to put on the map in Komoot manually to make sure that you're following actually the real trail. Some places in Komoot you would see this yellow and blue sign of San Francesco Way. others not. So I was not relying on that. I was mainly relying through which tiny places the official route goes. So I would point on my Komoot map as a waypoint these places. Obviously downloaded offline. You know, the internet connection in Italy is quite reliable. However, you would encounter spots where there is no proper connection. So do have this in mind. Overall, Komoot did a job, but when I wanted to have, and I know that probably somebody already have done this, and probably there is on Komoot the whole way, but because the search function in Komoot is so unfriendly, I was not able to find anything. So I had to create my own collection, which is on Komoot right now. So if you're looking for specific maps of the specific days, it's all there. So please, if you're using Komoot, you can find me on Komoot and have access. It's a open access to everybody. My collection from Florence to Rome on foot. So these are the biggest ones I've been using. What I want to say is that on YouTube, you can find bits and pieces, and I encourage you to watch this, because the more information you accumulate, the more prepared you will be when you're actually walking. But be absolutely sure that no matter how much information you have, you would encounter difficulties, and you would have to be flexible about things on your way. Yeah, that was fun. That was definitely fun for me, and I learned a lot through these lessons. So that's that. Video number 2, we've been discussing the resources I've used before I set off on my San Francisco pilgrimage in Italy this April. As always, please do like this video. If you find this content interesting, make sure that algorithm is gonna pick it up. If you have any questions, do write me comments, and I will see you soon with the video number 3, and we will be discussing the packing for that journey. Have a good day, and bye.